Hello everybody, I hope you're well. It's been a long time since I made a video yet again because of late I am concentrating on my own journey um, and introspection and all that kind of thing, events, um, learning the lessons and everything, and it is just so important to do that, and that's really what I want to talk about a bit today, is how important that is. I mean, there are some people in the so-called truth movement who do wonderful work exposing the powers that be, exposing conspiracies, explaining to people and providing information to people so that they realize, just what a what a terrible situation that we're in, and that we can actually do something about this if we all just open our eyes to it. And I know a lot of people who as we call them, are asleep, the sheeple. They see this information and it is pretty horrible. A lot of it is pretty horrendous. It's horrible stuff, and they just go into like this sort of like fear mode, and you can tell by their reaction it is fear based. I mean, a lot of them will and be like, oh, they would never do that to us, and other people will just kind of like repeat set phrases again and again, and it's kind of freaky, Personally, it freaks me out when they're just like, for example, the prime example was when I was talking to some Mormons. There's a Mormon church down the road from me, and they always get a couple of young American girls to come here, and then they walk around the streets trying to convert people. Well, they've stopped trying with me now, because the last time I tried to explain to them about astrotheology, I tried to explain to them about the Telestai, or also known as the Gnostics. I tried to explain to them, you know, certain things, trying to open their minds and trying to get them to question. And I just got this blonde chick just staring at me blankly, saying, Jesus has saved me, I love Jesus, repeating that kind of phrase over and over. And it's just like, okay, I just told you about astrotheology, and all you can say is, I love Jesus, he saved me. I'm like, save you from what? From jeans? Because they're always in freaking skirts and everything. And anyway, yeah, so we get that a lot with people. When you try and tell them the truth, they just don't want to hear it out of fear, because they're comfortable. They don't want to step outside their comfort zone. But I will tell you something: a lot of truthers who are dealing with this outside stuff, when you start to try and confront them with the inside stuff, they have the same reaction, the fearful reaction, because it ain't pretty sometimes. It ain't pretty to see what we are really like. The way they don't like to admit that they too have been affected by the programming. Of course they bloody well have. We were born into this shitty world. We grew up in this shitty world. Most of us went through the education system, and we had TV, and we had religion, and we had, surrounded by hardcore statists and sheeple, and raised by these kinds of people. They were everywhere in the media and everything. Of course, we're going to be affected, and it's not just by understanding that you completely erase all the effects that had on you. You don't. You've got to recognize the effects that they had, and you can't just automatically presume that you are no longer affected. Some of them are deep rooted, some of these effects, that go back to early childhood, and I see so many people who are actually affected by the programming and who refuse to see it, and they're in the truth movement. They should know better, apparently, but they haven't done that introspection. They haven't looked in the mirror. They haven't worked on themselves. They're all concentrating, almost like they're trying to avoid themselves, their own personal truths. Now that is, that if you're using your term, my truth, your truth, that is the term it should be used for. The truth about you, not your version of the truth, but the truth about you. That is your truth. And you know, I've been observing this probably because I have been confronting my own truth of late, and how I've been conditioned as well, and trying to break that conditioning by being aware of it. And every time I see this conditioning sort of affecting my behavior or my words or my thoughts, then I sort of say, stop. What's going on here? Let's do some critical thinking here, rather than allowing the conditioning, the programming to take over. and it's not easy. Um, there have been quite a few alignments this year, astrological alignments, and they have been pretty intense, especially the last blood moon. That was pretty exhausting, actually. But they're becoming more and more fruitful. I feel like personally, I'm making great big steps forward. I'm making a lot of progress. Excuse me. So, at least that's something. I don't mind being exhausted and worn out and drained, and I don't mind the drama that imposes on me if it's going to bear fruit, and it is. And what the running theme of this year seems to be is letting go of what does not serve you anymore. And I would say, it's not just about relationships. It's also about this freaking conditioning or this freaking programming, trying to let go of it. And letting go isn't just something you do once, it's an ongoing process. It takes time and effort and consciousness. You've got to be aware of the problem, be able to solve it. All this beeping and noise and everything. What with my washing machine and the roadworks outside. I'm hoping you can hear me. Anyway, so yeah, another thing that I wanted to talk about as well is the role of women. And I think that women probably have less difficulty in doing this work on themselves because they are more in tune with their emotions and with spirituality, um, and that kind of thing. It's more the divine. Ugh, stick my teeth back in. The divine feminine side of things. That's the right brain, if you prefer. But yeah, I'm coming to the conclusion actually more and more that women are the key to making that breakthrough in consciousness. I'm not saying that because I'm a woman. I'm saying that because it makes sense to me. And it's through what I'm observing. As I said about women being more in touch with their emotions and they don't have the whole male pride issue, which is part of the programming, by the way. That is, men don't show their emotions. They they suppress their emotions to a far greater extent than women do. Yes, okay, it's frowned upon as well. They call women hysterical, emotive, and all the rest of it. But yeah, and I agree. You mustn't get carried away with your emotions, but you must acknowledge them. You must express them in a way that is responsible and harmless. Of course, you must just go crazy with them. They need to be acknowledged, they need to be expressed, and they need to be understood. And the suppression of emotion isn't going to help that anymore. It's just unhealthy. That's all it is. It's just unhealthy. And some would say that even leads to physical illness, and I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. To be honest with you, it is toxic to suppress one's emotions. And I believe that as we women are more capable of working with our emotions, and therefore I would say that leads us inwards. That leads us to the place where we look at ourselves and we question ourselves. And as I said, we haven't got the male pride and the whole domination thing, and that kind of the whole the negative male side. I'm not saying that all men are like that, and I'm coming down on men like that. It's please don't take offense if you're a man listening to this. But I would just say that because women just seem to be more capable of doing that inner work of observing themselves because of their connection to their emotions and to spirituality. I mean, the Native Americans, they say that the highest calling of a man is to protect a woman on this earth, and the highest calling of a woman is to lead a man to his soul. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up, although men don't seem to be really protecting women. They seem to be sort of using them as sex objects or running them down or whatever, despite people talking about sexual equality and that sort of It's all fucked up anyway. That could be the subject of another video, you know. But coming back to the point, women, as I said, they've got this capacity to do the inner work, but a greater capacity than men have. Also, we are nurturers by nature. We are the ones who take care of other people. Um, obviously the kids. That is one of our natural roles. But also we do have to look after our men folk because they are big kids after all. And if anybody can help these boys become men, it's women. But first of all, the women must become real women. Women have to, stop being so superficial. There are a lot of superficial women, and I don't even consider them women. I consider them as walking, talking dolls. Nothing more, nothing less. Unfortunately, we have a lot of women like that, but we also have a lot of real women in this world, and that's a wonderful thing. And I think, we have so much responsibility. Those of us who are actually aware of that part of divinity in us, who love ourselves, we respect ourselves. We are goddesses in my eyes. I believe that all women are goddesses, all real women are goddesses. Those who have, the intelligence and the self-respect and the care and understand that what love really is, and understand the importance of boundaries as well. Self-love. Love starts with the self. And I'm not talking about being big-headed or, selfish or whatever, but you must protect yourself. I've said this over and over again. It's from my rookie life-saving days. If you've got somebody who's drowning and the lifesaver swims out there, if the victim who's drowning tries to grab you and drag you under, you kick them off and you swim away and you let them drown. You could come back and try it, but if they don't calm down, you've got to leave them because, if they drown you, who's going to save them? You're going to have two people drowned rather than one. So, if you catch my drift. But it's, that's why we set boundaries. That's also why we set boundaries. No good sort of going down for a lost cause. So that is part of being a woman as well. It's part of being a man as well. But us women seem to, I don't know, we seem to get it more. But yeah, a lot of women don't set boundaries. They as I said, they're walking, talking dolls. So yeah, that's setting up boundaries. Another thing, as I said, real love. Real love isn't fuzzy and squishy and, just doing everything to make someone happy. It's doing things for their own good. Sometimes you have to be tough. Sometimes you need to give tough love for the person's own good. And, love can be pretty badass sometimes. It's not all rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and all that sort of new age crap and turn the other cheek and that kind of thing. No, it can be really, love is tough. Love is, something that lasts forever. It's undying, and for that it has to be freaking tough. And I'm not saying be mean and nasty, but act for the good of others and for your own good as well. That's what it's all about. It's a driving force. It is strong. It is strength. Love is strength. And it's not mushy. It's not slushy, mushy crap. That ain't real love, So yeah, and I think that real women understand that. Real women understand they have to set up boundaries, and that's part of love being tough as well. Because, when you set up boundaries and you don't accept certain behaviors, you're also doing the other person a favor by sending out the message that is not acceptable behavior. That they're going to do people harm if they do that, and you're not going to let them do that harm to you. If you see what I mean. So it's, it is loving. It's loving towards yourself and towards the other person. To try and at least show them that that's not acceptable. That's not right to behave like that. So anyway, it's these real women that understand these things that I believe are going to make a difference. That are going to, by being that way, perhaps make more real men. That's what I hope, and I really do believe that if women can do that, then and men step up, and I think then the world could well be a better place, because as much as the spiritual and the physical are intertwined, um, you can't affect things directly through the spiritual. You have to go through to the physical. I mean, Mark Passo talks about the thoughts, emotions, and actions being aligned. Well, us women, we're to do with the emotions and the thoughts, and the men are more to do with the actions, if you see what I mean. So, that's how it goes. It goes from the thoughts and emotions to the actions, the two stages. And, therefore, women being the thoughts, emotions, we are the first stage in that. And I think that's the role we have to play in this. Um, and again, I will say, I am in no way putting men down. I'm just saying we all have our role to play, and women are the ones who are going to initiate, really, set the ball rolling for real this time. Really, they are the beginning of this. They are the beginning. They are going to, if you like, give birth to this change. Anyway, now I'm going to have to try and edit this because I had a freaking phone call in the middle of it. But anyway, I will do it. I've got all the time in the world right now. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I shall speak to you hopefully in the not too distant future. Take